Star Party is an organized event sponsored by an astronomy club. And what they will do, they'll come out and they'll have guest speakers. They'll set up in the pavilion over there. And you may have 600 astronomers on this field when during a Star Party. It's fantastic. It's a real wow factor when you see some of the bigger telescopes out here. We have a gentleman from Erie that brings down a 32-inch Dobsonian. He has to use a 10-foot stepladder to get up to the eyepiece on that. And the view through that is absolutely fantastic.
I'm Samuel Anthony Ettaro. You are watching Keystone Extra tonight in infrared. We have to film in infrared because, why? We're in one of the darkest places on the eastern seaboard. We're up in a mountaintop in the wilds of Potter County at Cherry Springs State Park. Zero measurable light pollution. We're here to check out the dark skies for the Star Party every year in September that happens here. We're here with Chip Harrison, park manager, and he's going to take us on a tour of an exciting, interesting, and relatively little known phenomenon that happens up here all summer long too, true? Not just an annual event, right?
Not just an annual event.
You can come up here, I understand, on any Saturday night and find tons of people.
Yes, especially during the dark of the moon, because that's when most of the astronomers come out. Moonlight will actually interfere with your ability to see deep space objects, and that's really the dark, the big stars you want to look at. And they're only here during the dark of the moon. Now there'll be other folks here maybe during a full moon period or less full period. All the camping equipment up here is set up with red lights in it. Here's a motor home and complete red lighting in it. A lot of them will have a couple of different systems. They have a white light system for when it's raining or cloudy, and then they have red lighting for other times.
You directed me. I had to choose my little handy cam here and shoot in infrared because our broadcast level stuff doesn't have infrared. So tell me a little bit about that. What's up with the red lights?
White light interferes with your night vision. It takes you probably 15 minutes from the time that you come outside at night. If you're in a lit room, you walk outside, it'll take you 15 minutes to get your night vision. In other words, that's when you're going to see faint lights, you really see the stars. Red light does not interfere with your night vision. So therefore everyone uses red light. In fact, that's one of the rules on the astronomy field. No white light is permitted unless it is completely cloud covered. So we have to have the red light. And when you walk in out here, we have red cellophane that we can put over your flashlight and get you set. You're ready to go. We have the farthest person tonight that traveled here would be from London, England. So we actually had a person, this is his second year visiting the Black Forest Star Party. But normally we would have them from Ohio, New York, Maryland, Virginia, Michigan, just all the surrounding states, Delaware, and sometimes we even get them up into New England like Maine or Connecticut. We're going to go back this way here and get you on the back side of the field, probably the darkest area on the field.
I wasn't up here.
You're the park manager, so you're a take care of this place. It's a recreational facility.
So
Absolutely beautiful.
I
mean, it's a beautiful park. Yeah. Not just to come up here if you're an astronomy buff, but this place is absolutely gorgeous in the wilds of Potter County, up on a mountaintop. Beautiful big broad meadows, large old trees, beautiful weather. Yes. The air is crisp and clean, mountain air. So when did you get the astronomy bug, man?
Back in about 1997, we discovered that astronomers were using the park, and one of the first questions we had when I ran into one up here one morning, he was taking his telescope down, and I asked him, how did you discover this? And they discovered it over the internet. There are sites.
What do you mean? The astronomers discovered
Cherry Springs on the internet, and how that was there.
I see what you're saying.
There are dark sky locators on the internet, and the site that they went to listed Cherry Springs as being one of the darkest in Pennsylvania. So they come out here and set up on the field and loved it. So we kind of grew from there. In '97, the astronomers started to use it. In '99, we actually had the first star party here.
Do you think that blinking thing over there is a telescope?
I don't know, Chip. What do you think?
Yeah. They use the red blinkers on those so that you know where they are, and it locates the tripods.
Did you
So
hear
don't
that,
stumble
Bella?
into that.
Did you hear that? You were right. It is a telescope. You're very smart.
Bella, if you look up in the sky, over here, see where I'm pointing? Do you see a big white road going like this through the stars? Can you see that big white road? It's like a big white ribbon. Do you know what that's called?
What?
The Milky Way. Did you ever hear of the Milky Way?
Yeah, my mom told me.
Is it a candy bar? Did you ever hear of the Milky Way candy bar? There is a Milky Way candy bar, but this is called the Milky Way galaxy, and that's the galaxy that we live in, the galaxy of stars.
You were telling us earlier, Chip, that they really do come from all over for this event. You weren't kidding.
No, absolutely not. You know, we have some of our Michigan folks here, so we're bringing them in all the time. Every year, they're back here.
Mark
And we look
from
for
Ann
some-
Arbor, Michigan.
Wow. Well, now what? Of course, the dark skies, but it's got to be more than just the dark skies. You're coming out here, meeting cool people.
Oh yeah, this is one of the best venues around. They got pretty much the darkest skies east of the Mississippi. There's other places that might be a little bit darker than this, but where else can you get together with 450 geeks just like us, all doing the exact same thing and loving every minute of it?
There you go.
Yeah, so they're more than willing to travel this because dark sky is a vanishing resource, and these folks are willing to drive 6 hours, 10 hours to get to a dark spot.
At least 400 to 500 people that are set up here observing that have come in special for this event, and we have probably expecting 200 to 300 people at least from the local community to come out and see the stars in the night sky, one of the darkest skies east of the Mississippi.
What does it mean to you to be able to share this with the public on this night? I mean, Saturday night, it's open to the public. People are coming in.
Well, as a member of the University Lowbrow Astronomers of Ann Arbor, Michigan, we hold public star parties twice a month, on the Saturday before and after the new moon, and we do this every single time. We bring out the public, and we'll do a complete demonstration, let everybody look through our telescopes, show them anything that they want. We get people coming out that have bought stars from those buy a star, name it after your relative or whatever, and we'll find that star for them or whatever they want to see.
Amazing.
As long as it's in the sky, we'll find it for them.
If you look over there where my finger's pointing now, it looks like a cotton ball in the sky. Do you see the cotton ball? That's called the Andromeda Galaxy. And we're going to look at that through the telescope, okay? Are you good at climbing ladders?
But to have people that have never seen the cosmos up close and personal like this, it's got to be a great experience for you guys.
Not everybody appreciates it, but for the people that do, it's a privilege to actually show it to them.
And if we can get Bella up the ladder, she'll have a look. Has she seen galaxies before through a telescope?
No.
Oh boy.
I think so. This is something new. She's waiting.
This is something new.
I told you, patient persistence will pay off.
That's right.
I think this will work for her. Okay, Bella, there's a couple
go with-
steps here. I'll show you where they are. You want to help her up? 1, 2, 3. How close are you? Now this is where you'll be looking through. Wow. You lean there and hold on to the bar.
Right up to her. You see anything?
You see any points of light, any stars?
Sort of.
Sort of. Is there a big white cloudy cotton ball object in there? Something looks like a big cotton ball?
Yeah.
Or a big cotton candy?
Yeah.
That's the Andromeda Galaxy. That's not the galaxy we live in, but it's another galaxy in outer space, and it's part of our local group of galaxies. Our galaxy is grouped in outer space with 16 other galaxies. That's one of them. Our galaxy is the Milky Way galaxy that you see stretching overhead. When you look through here, you're looking at a completely different galaxy of stars.
Where are you from?
Massachusetts.
Wow, all the way from Massachusetts to Potter County.
Yeah.
for the dark skies. That's amazing. So they don't have dark skies like this in Massachusetts?
No. There's a lot of light pollution. Although in Western Mass there is skies that come close to this, but not quite. But this is definitely worth the drive. And also the event itself is worth the drive too. It's always a lot of fun to hang together with a lot of people with the same interests.
This is one of the darkest skies in the Northeast. We have very little light pollution around us. We're up on a mountaintop. What most small rural towns that we have around do not even affect the area. In fact, the skies here can get as dark as what you would find in the Southwest in New Mexico. We could get tonight a sky that might be approaching 7 magnitude, which is as good as it gets.
We're here with Gary Hannes, amateur astronomer, one of hundreds that come out to these star parties here, taking advantage of the dark skies in Potter County. This is a massive piece of equipment that you've got here, Gary. Tell us a little bit about what we're looking at, what part of the cosmos we're able to see through this beautiful piece of machinery here.
Well, you can see all of the cosmos through this telescope, but I can say something about this telescope. It's what you call a larger telescope. Yeah, this telescope has a 20-inch mirror, and it's there at the base of the telescope, so it's a 20-inch diameter mirror, and the larger the mirror, the more you'll see in the night sky. Okay, so when you're looking for a telescope, it's always important to try to get one with a larger optic, either a larger mirror, as in this reflector telescope, or a larger lens. Most telescopes are closed tubes where it is a solid tube, but with this design, it's called a truss tube design. These poles you see here are actually triangular sections, and there are 4 of them. And so it allows the telescope to be easily assembled or disassembled on the field, and that can make it very compact. So instead of being stuck with a very large, solid tube, this telescope comes apart in pieces. You have an upper section here, okay, which actually will fit into the lower section down here after these poles are removed, and then the poles are placed.
Compress and be easily transportable.
Yeah, and the larger telescope, you'll see larger telescopes on the observing field, still they're quite heavy, and then you have the problem of how do you lift them, and so you during the daytime you'll see we all have wheelbarrow handles we attach, so it looks like you're moving a wheelbarrow around on the field.
This is a monster piece of equipment. What are we looking at here?
This is a 24-inch scope. You see the step ladder they have to use going up to get to the eyepiece on it. This is a relatively large, it's a very similar scope to Gary Hannes's, only a little bit bigger.
What is the significance then of the size of the mirror?
Light gathering capability. In other words, the bigger the scope, the brighter the object. In other words, you gather more light, so objects appear brighter. You can make objects appear bigger, but you can't get as much of the sky. In other words, the longer the focal length, the longer the scope is, the narrower piece of sky you're looking at. And so there are certain objects and certain views that scopes like this are really not optimized for.
Shows what I know, see. Good thing I'm not an astronomer, huh? Now this thing's what? This is probably about 10 feet, 12 feet long?
10 feet tall. The eyepiece is 10 feet off the ground if you point it straight up.
An interesting point for me. Something that just I wouldn't know. It would be fascinating.
Something that you wouldn't know. Are you familiar with all the Greek and Roman mythology of the stars in the sky?
Yeah,
pretty much?
Enough, yeah.
How about the American Indian legends of the same thing?
No, I can't say I do.
How much film do you have on that? Because this could take some...
I have a lot, actually. I'd have to go back to get another tape. I got about 8 minutes right now, so talk fast.
I'll talk fast. Every culture has come up with some way to explain what the sky is to them. The American Indians had wonderful stories. They had a wonderful story about how the Milky Way, the sun, and the moon all got here. 3 animals went off to the other side of the earth where the sun was at because their side was dark. The 3 animals that went were the spider, the beaver, and the vulture. They went over there, they found the sun up in the sky. It actually is in a tree, and the vulture went up there first, took a little piece of that sun and hid it in behind its head. On the way back, feathers caught on fire. That's why vultures have bald heads these days.
Into the black, the cosmos, the space. Body resting, spirit rising. Spirit flies with comets. Spirit visits the planets. Color, movement, power. Pure energy and movement. This is the place, the home of the spirit, where the spirit lives. This is where we came from. We know this place. Rest in this place and soak up the energy in this place. For it is this energy that we bring back to the earth walk with us. This is the power that moves mountains out of the way. This is what we came into this world with. Soak this up. Fly in this place. Let the colors become part of us.
Milky Way, folks, you know, sometimes you can see a band where you live here in a dark spot in central PA, but up here on this mountain, we're looking at the Milky Way that actually is so bright that it appears to be smoke in the sky.
The beaver, obviously, guess what he did? He took a little piece of the sun and put it in his tail. His tail caught on fire and has no hair on it today. The spider, who's the smartest of them all, decided to get all three of them together and say, listen, Mr. Beaver, gather up some mud. Mr. Vulture, get over here and bring me some water. And she spun a web and they spun a bowl. They took a little piece of the sun, put it in a bowl. She spun a tight web over the top of it and took it all back to the other side of the earth. Threw it up into the sky, all three parts separated in the sky. The sun went in one spot, that bowl stuck in another spot, and it was white hot. It glows. Her web spread out across the sky and became the Milky Way.
It's so bright it actually casts shadow at a certain time.
Isn't that amazing?
You can follow the shadow from the Milky Way cast. And right there is the split in the Milky Way. You see where it splits apart? And so you can actually imagine yourself where we are in our solar system out in the spiral arm of that Milky Way, and that's one of the spiral arms coming off to the edge. The central bulge of our own Milky Way galaxy is down in that direction. And see that general glow out to the right?
Yeah.
That's like the central hub of our galaxy. When you were looking at
Oh, so I mean, you know, normally in any other circumstance, you would look out over the tree line and see a glow like that and anticipate that it's some sort of ambient light from a city way off in the distance or whatnot.
Sky glow from light pollution.
You're actually saying that that glow is our galaxy.
That's
not light pollution, like most people would be used to seeing.
Exactly. And when you were observing the Andromeda Galaxy through the telescope, you were looking at the central hub of that galaxy. And that is the core of our galaxy. And the Milky Way does change in position through the seasons, and through the course of the night, we can watch that Milky Way swing off to the west.
The bowl, as it glows and rotates around, sometimes you see it glowing only half the bowl. Sometimes you see a whole bowl, and sometimes you don't see any bowl. That's the moon.
Very cool. Very cool. What a story.
I know, I love that story. Do you have any copies of this story? Because I'll probably forget the punchline.
So Andromeda Galaxy on this computer is called Messier Object number 31. And because it's computer controlled, there's a go-to button on this controller. If all works correctly, we'll press the go-to button and it will go to that object. and the telescope knows where Andromeda Galaxy is, and it finds it in the sky. And if it worked correctly, when we look through the eyepiece in the telescope, the Andromeda Galaxy should be there. And it is.
Now, Mark, how did you get the astronomy bug?
Oh, good. That's a great one. My daughter was about 4 or 5 years old, and we were out on the back deck one day, and I'm actually her stepfather. Her real father was taken tragically from her when she was only about 4 months old, so she never really got to meet her real dad. But she'd asked me one time what that star was that was overhead. She said it was twinkling or winking at her, and I told her, I said, well, I'm not exactly sure what star it is, but I knew that most of the bright stars had names. And she says, well, I'm going to call it Lenny after my daddy because it looks like it's winking at me. Obviously, I had to find out what the name of that star was so I could find it for her if she ever asked again. It turned out to be that star right up there, Deneb.
Right.
Once I got started looking at that and figuring out what star was what, I just caught the bug and it went on from there.
I cannot believe how many stars are visible from here. This is absolutely stunning. When did you get the bug?
I got the bug as a child. My dad got me a little 3-inch reflector, and I've been into the hobby ever since. I always had cheap scopes, you know, the kind that you see in the department stores and that kind of thing. And this is really my first real scope. I just found myself in a position to afford it and decided to go for it. And that was in about 2001. I've been coming up here ever since.
Do you have the stargazing bug yourself, or is this something that you caught on to after getting involved with these events?
Well, I certainly caught the bug after I got involved with the events. Just like many school students, I went through Star Lab experiences and was exposed to astronomy in school, and I grew up very close to here in Gallatin, never knowing much about the resource in my backyard. One way, a long story, I came back here to work in the area, and I'm here, caught the bug, learning. There's a lot to learn, but it's a nice place to do it.
This is a big piece of equipment. How do you haul something like this? And you came all the way from Westchester.
Westchester, right. It's about 250 miles, but well worth it. A scope this size can really only do what it's supposed to do in a real dark site. But around here, there's 3 of these scopes right here, identical to this. There's a couple that are a tad smaller, and there's at least 2 that are bigger. So, wow, a lot of big scopes around here.
The largest telescope on the field is a 32-inch diameter reflecting telescope.
And we've got a laptop here. And here you can see a picture of the sky. Here you see Sagittarius, also known as the teapot. And we can also see it right here on the screen. And what we can do is just take an object that we'd be interested in seeing. Like, let's drag one of the favorites, Omega. And then we just get ready to click on it. And then we make sure no one is near the scope because you don't want to hit people with it. And then we say slew. And notice the scope is now moving to what I just pointed to. So how easy is that? You just find something you want on the screen and then wait for the scope to stop, and then we just put the ladder up there and we see what we got.
You've got a laptop hooked up here. You've got a massive notebook. What is this? About 20? How? That's a big scope.
Well, there's a lot of equipment on it. Well, this, of course, is the telescope itself. It's a 12.5 inch. The optical design is a Ritchie-Cretan, which is the same kind of optics that the Hubble Space Telescope has. And then down here we have the camera system. This is a large frame CCD camera chip. It's not like a normal camera. You can't look through it. There's no viewfinder, and it uses water cooling and a bunch of other things. But it takes really great astrophotographs. The main feature of it that makes it really different from a consumer camera is that the CCD chip that's in there that's actually taking the pictures is cooled to like minus 30 degrees centigrade so that there's very low noise. And you have to do that because the signals, the light coming in from the telescope is so faint. So the noise of the CCD camera would overwhelm it otherwise. Anyway, so that's that, and it has also built into it a special guiding system. So while I'm photographing, there's actually a second small camera in there that's repeatedly taking pictures of a nearby star and making small adjustments to the rest of the system here, which this is the mounting that carries the telescope, and this is what has to track and follow the sky to compensate for the movement of the Earth. So, of course, the Earth is rotating this way, making the stars move that direction. So this mount has to go in the opposite direction so that the stars stay stationary.
Now, is a device like this computer controlled, or is this all manually driven?
You can have a manually driven scope, and they're very easy to use. You aim them up and push them around in a circle. This telescope happens to be computer driven, and it has a computer system on it, so if you want to find an object like a planet, say Mars tonight, we just say press a button, go to Mars, and the telescope will go to Mars.
There's lots of different programs that you have that'll have whole catalogs of the night sky, and you connect it to your sky computers and they talk to each other, and then you just navigate the sky, and then the scope moves. Another nice thing this scope does, beyond moving to the objects, it keeps it there, because the Earth keeps spinning, and if we would just had it fixed, it would just float out of the field within like 5 minutes.
Punch in numbers into a little keypad here, and it goes and finds the object in the sky.
Considerably smaller than what we've been looking at over here.
Yeah, oh yeah. The Astrocrum group over there are a wonderful group. They're out here. They've been out here every year that this party's been going on, and they have every bell and whistle and a few things that you don't necessarily need on a scope on their scope.
Amazing, Chip. Look at this. There's a crowd gathered over here.
Yep.
Now you're using terms like tricked out. What exactly does that mean in terms of a telescope?
Well, these guys have modified their scopes. They really are into making them functional, but also the appearance.
So they're kind of like the Orange County Choppers guys.
Exactly.
The telescope world.
They're like the guys that computer modders that make funky cases, that kind of thing. Check these things out. They're really something.
My buddy, we sort of compete, in terms of how much stuff we can actually attach to our telescopes. But
is that what you're pointing? Is that what you're pointing at?
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at.
Yep, that's Alberio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Did you take a look at it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You've heard of. You've watched Orange County Choppers, and you've seen the guys trick out their motorcycles, and you've seen the little hoodlums going down the road in their tricked out rides. But did you ever hear of a tricked out telescope? Only at the Black Forest Star Party, right? Roger,
yeah.
These guys were telling us about this thing, and I walked up, and it was like you're walking into the Star Trek Enterprise. This is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Tell us what you did here. I mean, is this all cosmetic, or is there functionality to this?
It's pretty much all functional. I mean, all those switches have their specific reasons to be there. They up top there, it's mostly controlling the dew heaters that are keeping the dew off the eyepieces and the other parts of the scope. There's also power going to the finder scope and the Telrad finder. And then down below we have lighting on the ground that kind of one of the lights lights up the thermometer. It tells me the ambient air temperature versus the air temperature on the mirror, which is always important for us to know.
And from what I understood, you guys have you and David over here have identical scopes, correct?
Well, identical. They're the same brand. His has a 25-inch mirror, and mine has an 18-inch mirror. And on his scope, it may look a little bit neater because his is big enough that he can internalize most of the add-ons he's done, where I tend to have everything on the outside of the scope because of the size. So therefore, when you look at the bottom of the scope, it's just like covered with stuff. But he has pretty much the same features, although mine has a few more added things than his.
Yeah, I can't capture it. I had to turn off the infrared. You're not going to be able to see me here, but we're in complete darkness now. But I wanted to get. They kept saying that. Hold on a second, Roger. Okay,
Roger, make sure he gets your call.
Let me do a little.
This is one of the more important features. Down below here, you got a digital coffee mug where it's going to keep the coffee warm all night long, and that can be important after midnight.
You can see he's got me beat in the lit department right now. But you know,
this is a little
we'll have to equalize that next year.
Yeah. Well, Dave's scope has to be seen in the daylight to be appreciated. The engineering and the artistry of the add-ons is really spectacular.
I don't know if you can pick up the glow underneath. This is one thing you will not catch in the daytime. The whole scope glows.
Wow. Yeah, we can't get it.
Yeah.
In infrared.
Not in infrared.
And how did you end up hooking up with the folks out here in Cherry Springs?
One of our club members had heard about the Star Party and came up here the first year that they had the Star Party, and he came back and showed us pictures, and the pictures he showed us hooked at least 14 of us this year to come out here. There's 14 of us from Ann Arbor out here this year.
Did you all come together?
Yeah, pretty much. We kind of caravan and you know, cruise out here. One of our members actually had to go back to Ann Arbor, came out Thursday. He had to go back to Ann Arbor Friday night because he had to play in his jazz band at the International Jazz Festival in Detroit, and he drove back today. He's back over there observing tonight.
No, I actually could see more struck on, well, I had it on a lower power, but it was too washed out. When I added the power, it brought out the contrast. So it's,
okay. Sure.
Thank you. Can you describe this, what you're seeing?
Well, it's not in there, so it'll be difficult.
oh, it's there.
Now, what is it, Roger?
Oh, yeah, it is. I'm sorry.
It's M51, spiral galaxy that we're looking at. Of the galaxy, the
face on.
Spiral arms, face on, yeah. Face on. It's dim, so you gotta kind of stare at it for a minute or so, and the longer you stare at it, the more detail you can kind of tease out of the object.
It's pretty dim tonight. I can't really see the companion, you know, the interacting
It should be about 6 o'clock.
6.
Yeah.
Okay, it's very dim.
You can tell because the stars are all different in one part.
It's a very nice example of a spiral galaxy, and actually it's the one that was first noted to be a spiral structure by the Lord Ross in England.
Is this after Messier?
Yeah, it was the 1860s.
This is one, all this is just a star field. There's nothing fancy in that was part of the alignment thing. Now I have a whole catalog of all my images. Let me see if I can bring that up for you real quickly. I have dozens and dozens of photographs, but I've got to get to them. Let's see.
You have what's called digital setting circles. In other words, my computer's mounted up there, I can point it, I can select an object, and it'll let me know when I'm pointed at it. It's not driven, it doesn't have motors or anything like that, so it's pretty bare bones. Tom over there on that scope, now he's got no computers whatsoever, he knows where everything is, and he hops around, so you know, it's really a matter of taste. I didn't grow up knowing the sky, and I'm too old to really learn it properly. So, but I've been coming since the 2000 event. I didn't have a scope in 2000, but my friend did, and we came up. I've met and made some very close friends here. Most of these people come up here. Not most of these people here, but most of the regulars come up every new moon weekend when the weather permits. But we see the same people here at the Black Forest Star Party year after year. This has really grown from a rather small event to something that's packed every year.
This is called the California Nebula once it loads up on the computer, and there you can see that. Are you able to see that? And we got a red screen over the computer.
Hold on. I think I got to turn off the infrared for this. We'll see if we can get a. Yeah, it is. That's what we're doing. We're getting a big white spot. All right. Let's see if we can get a shot of this.
Yeah. So
oh wow! I got it. How cool!
Great. So that's the California Nebula, and that's sort of my trademark. I have it on my cards that I give folks. I'll give you a card here in a second. Well,
Well, I live over in Tioga County, and our neighbors heard about this, and we decided to come over and just check out the stars.
Do you know anything about astronomy?
I had never, back in high school, I had the star chart, and I know a few constellations like the Big Dipper, Little Dipper, but not too much.
So have you had an opportunity, aside of Alan's scope here, have you had an opportunity to look through anything tonight?
Yes, we stopped at a couple places already, and some guys from Michigan were just there, and they were very friendly, helped us out.
That's amazing. So at this point, the event is open to the public, and we have some locals and people that have driven for hundreds of miles to come here and take a look through some of these scopes. This is amazing. Climb up on that ladder, man. Let's take a look and see what you see.
Let's see what's there.
I mean, you come all the way from New Jersey.
Yeah, the reason I come here is because this is the last dark sky site that's left in the entire eastern seaboard. You have to travel all the way down to West Virginia to find a place that compares with this, and that place is on a mountaintop, which is, there's no facilities, so this is a much better place to be coming. And the park system has just gone out of their way to do things to facilitate the use of this park for astronomy, and we're really indebted to Chip Harrison and his team, you know, for making all this space available to us. It's a real blessing for astronomers, because you can't see this. I mean, in New Jersey, you can't even tell there is a Milky Way, and most of the stars that you see here we can't see. So being able to come here is just a really wonderful thing.
I can see the pinwheel. Very, very interesting. It looks like something you'd see in the magazine.
Near photographic.
Live, it's so much better.
This is M51, the Whirlpool Galaxy. It's a classic face-on spiral, a very similar structure, we believe, to the Milky Way. You can see the spiral arms. There's a small companion galaxy, but it almost looks like a pinwheel face-on.
That's what we're looking for.
That's very cool. It's very cool. I mean, it is. It's like something you see in National Geographic or watching. You know, growing up, I was watching, Cosmos with Carl Sagan. You know,
the first thing they ask you is, well, do you do photography? Do you take pictures? And for me, seeing it in real time means a lot, and it's sort of hard to put into words why that would be. But it's an experience you either get or you don't.
The event itself, it's just terrific being together with all these people who have common interests, being out under the night sky and enjoying the beauty of the things that we can see and photograph. So it's just really fun to be here and meet new people, make old friends. I mean, Gary and I have known each other for years. We've been coming up here together for a long time. We don't live anywhere near each other, don't work together. We only know each other from this place. We met here for the first time, and I've got lots of friends that I've made up here like that.
But one of the things that I noticed immediately looking through there was the near three-dimensional feel of what you were seeing.
Right.
There was depth when I was looking through this scope.
We can do better than that.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think that would be the best way to put it, was that there was an actual depth to what I was seeing. I wouldn't call it 3D, but it was...
Well, we can do 3D too.
Really?
Well, we have a binocular viewer.
What was that?
Now you can spend twice as much on eyepieces.
Everybody has, their eyes are different, have different spacing. So over here, if we can show you, this bends like binoculars. Okay? So you need to adjust it for your spacing, and then take the time to focus it, which is right here. And it's going to look 3D to you, because that's what, it's sort of a trick. Obviously it's not really 3D, but the mind plays tricks on you and you can judge.
I'm the guy that Mark was talking about. My wife and I came out here in 2001. It was right after September 11th, and they weren't even sure that they were going to hold the party. And we came anyway. They held the party, and the skies were about this good, and we don't see this kind of sky unless you go to northern Michigan but around Detroit area, Ann Arbor, light pollution is pretty terrible. It's getting worse by the day in a lot of built-up areas, and we came here and saw the skies, took some pictures, told some stories, and as Mark pointed out, we have 14 people here. And I just want to show you one thing, if I could, really quick, and I'll let you all look through the telescope. You could probably hold that camera up to the eyepiece and get a picture of this. I think this is why we come.
we're hooked. We're diehards.
And that's fascinating. Very cool. Wow, absolutely amazing.